Hi everyone, welcome to the Commons Court and our episode of Closing Arguments. This is the part two of our episode on tax minimization and tax evasion. And this part will focus on whether there is anything wrong with tax minimization. You can go to our Facebook page to check out the first part of this episode, which more or less defines tax minimization and tax evasion.
Yaya, do you have what do you think about this issue, and what are your opinion on it?
See, when you have rights, you have corresponding duties. So, for instance, if you have the right to live peacefully and utilize the resources of the state, including land, you have a corresponding obligation to pay your taxes to the amount that the state requires you to. The state does, after all, rely primarily on your tax for its income. If we stick to rights alone and forget duties, then we would end up in a situation similar to the one shown in the Panama leaks. These leaks seem to imply that politicians sitting in office were free to minimize their tax by taking money out of the country using loopholes such as lax regulation on foreign exchange and invest said money into offshore assets which would be untaxable in Pakistan because there would be no need to declare such to the state. Let's not forget let's not forget that politicians are not supposed to conduct any business while in office to prevent conflict of interests.
That's very interesting. Yeah, and I like what you did there, but I just want to I think clarify more for the audience and for myself is the definitions and the what do we really mean by tax minimization and tax evasion. Tax evasion is tax minimization in an illegal sense. So, so that whenever anybody minimizes taxes, it doesn't mean it's wrong. It's wrong when they break the law to do it. See, I've been trying to make that point. I think from the beginning. And when you talk about the Panama leaks and the Pakistani politicians that have been caught in that scandal, they were not using legal means. They Yes, they were some of the ways that they managed to have set up offshore companies and set up offshore accounts was by using loopholes, but a lot of it is what was done by breaking the law. It was they was they shipped horrendous amounts of money outside of the country through very possibly illegal means. The very source of that money is unknown. We're we're not quite sure if whether it was gotten through legal means. And then the fact that they kept it there without declaring any of these assets at home is again another form of tax evasion, not tax minimization, because as uh, politicians and as people who were members of parliament, they're supposed to show all their assets and release their tax returns publicly. And any errors in that is not tax minimization, it's tax evasion. And therefore, still firmly believe that using loopholes within the law is tax minimization, and it's still perfectly fine. Whilst tax evasion is forgetting about the law and going and doing whatever you feel necessary, the way a lot of these politicians named in the Panama leaks did. And I think Muhammad Ali has some things to say. I'm just going to hand over the mic to him.
I understand that non disclosure is a problem for politicians because it allows them to do a lot of shady things and not get caught. But disclosure by normal citizens, I feel, is just another way of doing the same thing right in front of our eyes and not being held accountable for it. I'll explain. Person A thinks long term. He earns 50 crore rupees and he puts 45 crores of those in his bank account. This year he will be taxed on the income that he generated, and he will also be taxed on the remittance. So you're thinking, good, we've gotten money out of it, good deal for Pakistan. For the next 20 years, he can enjoy that 45 crores without paying a single penny on it. It's just sitting in Panama, it's doing nothing, and he's enjoying it. Whereas if that same money was in Pakistan, he would be taxed on that money every year. Money would come out of it to go to zakat, money would come out of it to go to the state funds, which would then be reinvested into Pakistan. That money is not being used that way anymore. And my major concern is that the only reason that that money went out was so that all of this could happen, so that this tax could be avoided, zakat wouldn't be paid, and all these things. For me, that is a problem. The fact that it's happening in front of our eyes, for me, makes it no less wrong, because the purpose was that he is making that income and he should be, on the basis of that, putting money back into the state, which he's not doing. There's a loophole that he's exploiting. And the reason that we're having this debate is because I feel that these loopholes need to be closed down so that this doesn't happen. It's not illegal now, but it should be.
And with that, we're going to end part two of this episode. Stay tuned for part three. We're going to post it out tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed this. And this is your host, Hamza Haider, signing off. And that's the way it is.